Why Islam allows up to 4 marriages. The wisdom behind polygyny. Before we start, I want to show you something that most people get completely wrong about Islam. Most people hear the word polygyny and immediately react with emotion. It's unfair, it's outdated, it oppresses women. But what if I told you that 1,400 years ago this ruling was actually introduced to protect women? And that the societies criticizing it today are quietly doing something far worse. Stay with me, because by the end of this video you will see this completely differently. Introduction. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to True Satisfaction. Today we are going to talk about one of the most misunderstood rulings in all of Islam. Why does Islam allow a man to marry up to 4 wives? Now, before you form an opinion, I want to ask you to do one thing. Just give me the next few minutes, because we're going to look at this through the Quran, through authentic hadith, and through history itself, and you will discover something that most people, even many Muslims, have never fully understood. Let's begin. Part 1. Islam did not invent polygyny. Here is the first fact most people don't know. Islam did not create polygyny. It was already everywhere. In ancient Rome, in Persia, in pre-Islamic Arabia. Men could take 10, 20, sometimes even more wives and concubines with zero limits, zero accountability, zero protection for the women involved. Women had no rights, no guarantees, no recourse. Then Islam came. And Allah revealed in the Quran, "If you fear that you cannot deal justly with the orphan girls, then marry women of your choice, 2, 3, or 4. But if you fear that you cannot deal justly with them, then marry only one." Surah An-Nisa 4:3. Notice what just happened. The Quran didn't say, go marry 4 wives, it said maximum 4, and only if you are just. This was not an expansion of rights for men, this was a restriction. For the first time in human history, justice between wives became a religious obligation. Think about that. Part 2. The real reason behind the ruling. Now here's where the story gets really interesting. And this is the part that most people, critics and Muslims alike, never stop to think about. Why was this ruling actually introduced? The answer comes from history. In early Islamic society, just like throughout all of human history, wars happened, battles were fought, and men died, which left behind something devastating: thousands of widows, thousands of orphaned children with no income. No protection, no social safety net. In that world, who was going to care for them? Islam answered that question. It turned marriage into an act of social responsibility. The Prophet himself said, "The one who cares for a widow and the poor is like the one who strives in the cause of Allah." Sahih al-Bukhari. Marriage in Islam is not just about romance, it is about responsibility. It is about protection, it is about dignity. In many cases throughout early Islamic history, a second marriage meant saving a vulnerable woman and her children from poverty. That is not oppression. That is mercy. Part 3. The condition that makes it almost impossible now, and this is important. Let's talk about the condition Islam placed on polygyny, because it is not a small condition. It is a crushing moral responsibility. The word is justice, equal financial support, equal time, equal treatment, equal emotional care. And the Prophet warned men with these words, "Whoever has 2 wives and inclines toward one of them will come on the day of judgment with one side of his body leaning." Sunan Abu Dawud. Read that again. Tilted on the day of judgment before Allah because he was unfair to his wife. This is not a system that was designed to give men power. It is a system that holds men accountable at the highest possible level. Before God himself. Part 4. The Prophet's own marriages. Now I know what some of you are already thinking. What about the Prophet Muhammad himself? Didn't he have multiple wives? Yes, he did. But here is what people never mention first. For 25 years, the prime of his life, the Prophet had only one wife. Khadijah, may Allah be pleased with her. He was completely devoted to her. He loved her deeply. And when she passed away, he grieved profoundly. The marriages that came later, they were to widows, to women who needed protection, to women whose marriages helped unite divided tribes and stabilize a fragile young society. This was not about desire, history itself makes that clear. Part 5, the mirror moment. Here is something I want you to sit with for a moment. We live in 2026, in modern, progressive societies. And in those same societies, polygyny is illegal, but affairs are everywhere. Men have mistresses, secret relationships, hidden second families. Women are left with no legal rights, no financial protection, no dignity. The children, caught in broken homes with no acknowledgement. So let me ask you a genuine question: which system actually protects women more? The one that outlaws extra relationships while they happen secretly everywhere? Or the one that brings them into the open with legal contracts, financial rights, and full social recognition? Islam chose transparency and accountability. The modern world chose denial. I'm not saying polygyny is for everyone. The Prophet himself never commanded it, but we should at least be honest about what we're comparing. Part 6, polygyny is an option, not an obligation. And before we close, one more truth that matters. Islam does not require men to marry more than one wife. It never did. Throughout Islamic history, the overwhelming majority of Muslim men have lived their entire lives with one wife. Polygyny exists as a permitted option for specific circumstances, with strict conditions, with justice as the foundation, not as a lifestyle, not as a default, not as a right without responsibility. The permission exists. The obligation does not. Conclusion: so what have we actually learned today? Islam did not introduce polygyny, it limited it, it regulated it, it surrounded it with justice, accountability, and moral weight. It created a system to protect widows, support orphans, and bring dignity to vulnerable women. And it placed the entire responsibility on the shoulders of men, with a warning that echoes all the way to the day of judgment. What people criticize today was actually designed to solve the exact same social problems we still have, but refuse to honestly address. Islamic teachings often contain a wisdom that only becomes visible when we step back and look with full honesty. I hope this video gave you that perspective. Final message: if this explanation opened your mind even a little, share it with one person who has questions about Islam. Because the teachings of Islam are not misunderstood because they are wrong, they are misunderstood because they are not fully explained. That is why this channel exists. Subscribe, share, and I will see you in the next video. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.